might get a good.
So there were so many, and they're from Nebraska. I think we actually stayed in Nebraska and rallied in Iowa or Nebraska.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's just an exciting time, election night, and all these results are coming.
And you can see some cities in Texas, some of the more liberal cities, Austin, San Antonio, going blue. And we were talking about it earlier. Houston is really diverse. How many districts touch?
There's a lot of congressional districts in that area, and there were quite a few competitive re-election.
And also, we're pulling that up right now. It looks like northern Texas, District 13. Has projected that Mike Thornberry will win that. Texas, close to the border. Looks like District 28, and showing you Republicans of looks like 4-point tell.
Republican, very close race. Each candidate garnering 3 million votes apiece.
Wow.
Rick Scott and Bill Nelson. So it's a very.
Touched on that a little bit, but I want to bring you guys some actual numbers. Okay, the Oklahoma Finder businessman could be interesting. Thank you for your journalism. It's been an exciting season watching you guys right now, and pull up the gubernatorial race in Oklahoma. Okay, so Kevin Stitt, and this is point.
Almost 100,000 votes or so.
Wow, okay, honestly. Now each candidate, and it was really interesting to see who Andrew Gilliam could bring in.
And by law, if they're under a certain percentage, they have to. So
yeah.
I think it's best that they
vote counts. And right now, looking at the gubernatorial race in Alabama, Kay Ivey is in the lead with 59.7% of the vote. Now, this is just with 5% repeated votes. So these gubernatorial races. Also going to update you guys on Texas. Greg Abbott is in the lead with also getting some new numbers in from Nebraska. 13%, 500, and some new seconds.
You know, I was looking at New Hampshire. John Sununu, the Republican governor there, is in the lead.
Tom Wolf in the lead over Republican candidate Scott Wagner. And we're going to kind of move through America, and we'll be bringing you guys these results all night. One state we haven't talked about too much yet. In Kansas, looking at the gubernatorial race there, Laura Kelly is in the lead, and she is the Democrat candidate with 54.9% of the votes over Chris Kobach, who has 38.2% of the vote, and this is with 5% reporting. Also looking at Colorado, getting some numbers in. Jared Poles, Democratic candidate, in the lead. Real information, ignore that. Missouri, Claire McCaskill is in the lead, so ignore that graphic you just saw. It was old. Claire McCaskill is in that Senate race in New Mexico. Republican Mick Rich is in the lead. He has 51.7% of the vote. And behind him, incumbent
It was Coney Everett getting her to try to outseat Tammy Baldwin there in Wisconsin. So
yeah, speaking of that, now, this is when we were in the Mosinee, Wisconsin. Leah Vukmir just really getting to know small. 3% reporting, 64.5% of the vote. Leah Vukmir.
Donald J. Trump in the 2016 general election, but there are still a lot of registered Democrats.
Gubernatorial race in Texas. The vote, Senate and candidate.
Very competitive.
I think we might be pulling it up right now. This is with 86% reporting. One of my sources called for DeSantis about 50. This is
the current Democrat incumbent, Bill Nelson. It's super, super close. That race will probably go to a recount.
Yeah, we're gonna see, some of that tonight, just because there are so many tight races. Bring you guys some over on Alaska, so we're gonna be bringing you guys those results. Look,
we'll see what happens there in Alaska. I believe
this is the Gubernatorial. Walker. What party is he with?
He's
a different candidate. It's Washington State. No gubernatorial election there. Close in Washington until 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So stay tuned as we. At 1.6%.
To be the next. Tennessee showing up red. The red wave is alive and well in Tennessee, as well as their governor's race. So there, but Democrats have been very successful in Pennsylvania, New York, and Illinois.
Any set writing, which of those cities are going blue. Looking at those House Democratic candidate.
Very American population, so it's very difficult to call that race down there. The Florida at the very bottom, the district is Key West.
Don't go anywhere, and as soon as races are, guys, live coverage as it happens. So right now, looking at a map right now, and according to the New York Times. Florida 93% reporting. Right now, defeats Gil. There's a win for Florida.
Well, yeah, it's a very close race. So Florida being
continuing to bring you guys live results throughout the night. And wanted to shout out real quick, we just received a $17 donation from Kofifi Twitter. Hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for that donation. Who says, "Where we go one, we go all." We're gonna continue night results.
in the U.S. Senate, I'm going to be that fighter.
Definitely. What was it like to have him here?
I think it's honest Washington liberal and Joe Manchin.
Definitely. And how does today's rally compare to the previous ones?
Uniting theme. President Trump wants to send a strong conservative fighter and a big ally to the U.S. Senate. And they know that Senator Manchin is a dishonest Washington.
A little bit more about yourself. Why do you want this seat and why do you believe you deserve it?
I have a daughter and I want to make sure our country and our state are great. And I know that President Trump's been doing a lot of phenomenal things to help West Virginia out, to help our country out, lower taxes, regulatory relief. I also want to go and do everything imaginable to fight this opiate epidemic. Obama and to Hillary Clinton and to the bad old days when coal was being attacked, our gun rights.
but still.
Holding on to a seat in Texas, no surprise there for anybody who has been familiar with that seat. Arkansas will win, Republicans win in Tennessee with a Republican on. It looks Ohio. 72% are reporting, and Mike DeWine. You know, Bailey and I were in Ohio yesterday. They're ready to call, obviously very convinced and what looks to be a more principled conservative holding on to Ohio. What will that do for your state?
Well, Mike DeWine being our next governor of Ohio is huge because, like I said, with the 2020 census, redrawing our districts, we're going to have a Republican governor in there. And the DeWine family have been in Ohio politics for this year. You know, he has one every summer. You know, he's had one, you know, going way back for 30 years or more. So it's just a great win for the state of Ohio and the DeWine family who've done, you know, have given so much to our state. And really, congratulations to Mike. Going out to Mike DeWine.
And we'll keep you guys posted when or if it's officially called for DeWine or for Cordray. If you want to take a look at the Senate as well, Sherrod Brown declared victory for him in Ohio. He's the incumbent Democrat in the state, so it looks like that ballot is going to be split down the middle to
everybody knows him. He's from the Cleveland area, grew up in Mansfield. So, and as United States Senator, it's a 6-year term, obviously. He's made those personal connections, answering letters and emails and phone calls. So doing everything that he can as a candidate, as an elected official, to reach out to people, and the people are responding to that connectivity there.
Yeah, and it's so important that candidates really get involved with their communities and with their people rather than just staying in Washington all the time, you know? And so we're going to continue bringing you guys live results. I wanted to take a moment just for you guys that might be new to Right Side Broadcasting Network and welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us to our special midterm election night result coverage. We're really glad to have you here. And of course, we are donor supported here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So you can support us in a variety of ways. One of them right here, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, you just hit that super chat button down below. And you can also go to patreon.com. That link is on our website where you can become a monthly donor and you receive fun things in return like our lovely new tumblers with that Right Side logo, the new mugs you see us using here, hats, pens, pencils, stickers, t-shirts, lots of different things. Beginning of the night, and if you guys can't donate, we really understand that. First,
worked really hard for you. We had a great crew of reporters, Liz Willis and ours rallies, Lissa, myself, Sherwin Wendell. Shout out to you.
Hey Sherwin, I know you're watching right now, and Kevin, who's new with us, did a fantastic job. And of course, we had some special guests, Brandon from the Walk Away Movement and Lee from...
Looks like the Republicans...
About some Florida, that they're favoring not Shapiro's first time running against Vern Buchanan in that district. So it looks like Florida's going to hold Florida 15. That was deemed a toss-up. Also decided to go
Ross
Republican
Spano
as well. Yeah, Spano's going to win Florida's 15th district. And I lost the other Florida district. Florida 26, right. The toss-up district, was called for Democrats. So right now, things are very tight. Democrats have flipped 11 seats as of now, officially by the New York Times. So we'll see more if Republicans can flip any more or hold on to as many more. Right now, the Republicans are trying to hold on to at least 26 seats. The average seat loss from the party in power in foreign relations and all could really benefit from Mike Rogers' victory because Mike Rogers wants to bring in Space Force to Huntsville. So we'll see and that's not his district, but that makes a lot of sense if you know anything about Huntsville. So just wanted to keep you guys updated on some of those House seats. Right now we're seeing a lot of red, but so far it's still very close. Also, breaking news from Fox, if we can switch over to the Senate and to Texas, as it looks like he will fall short. It wasn't, but there's still a lot of eyes on this race.
Yes, really wonderful. And of course, that was a very close race. And we're getting an update right now that Fox has just called the Senate for the Republican Party.
Which would make sense but if Fox also called, and right now it looks like Rick Scott's gonna win Florida, still very close, and still there's still some votes to be counted, but right now I had people from this Republican win in the Senate. Right now, also, new numbers so far, but only 4% are reporting. They're underneath. They're right in my lab right now.
So,
you know what? It's okay. It's okay to laugh, guys. It's a long night. And all of the other mainstream media outlets and Fox News, there was a moment they all laughed at the same time. I was like, all right, sitting here staring at polls and sharing political information with you guys all night long because we're all political.
Right now, it looks like Josh Hawley has started to take the lead there. So if you take a look at the way that breaks down, that's because they're adding the district with Tucson and Phoenix, the two larger, highly dense populations in Arizona. But those numbers haven't actually pulled in, they're just initial results. So we will keep you guys updated on the way that one looks, but that one is still early as well. It's only leaning blue, it's not official. And I've been wanting to talk about Montana, a couple rallies in Montana.
Go for it, Matt.
I never got to go, unfortunately.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But the numbers have been the same for the past 10 minutes, so I feel like if I talk about it, they'll change on me. In a larger margin away from John James, up about 60%, which is about 4%. Keep you guys updated on those, because those are big Democrat seats that the Republicans.
One more time, in Florida, Ron DeSantis, the
about 3/4 of a percentage point in Florida, but 99% are reporting. We're going to have to go through a recount later tonight in Florida. That just seems very obvious. But it looks like current Governor Rick Scott has won and unseated Bill Nelson, the Democratic incumbent, long-time Democratic incumbent. And we'll keep you guys updated on that recount. That'll very likely happen over there. But I just wanted to keep you guys updated on that one, because that was a very unlikely, they're not very unlikely, that was hard to call. That was a close call, up until now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just found a good tweet I wanted to share with you guys, a take from Liz Wheeler. Bailey.
2 for Nevada. Danny, so hoping to upset the Democrat incumbent Thomas O'Halloran there in Arizona. So we'll see what happens. Of course, Greg Giaforte, he's the congressman at large in Montana. He's expected to win. We hope he wins, but
only losing by 205 votes right now in that at-large district. Remember, it's so lightly populated that there's only one congressman for the state of Montana represented in the Sunshine State.
And Rick Scott, just a great governor for the state of Florida, just a big
horror on this is in the area, especially hotels. People come in and they want to go to the beach and it smells terrible. And so Troy Balderson right now with 91%, not quite ready to call that one, neither is New York Times or Fox News, but Troy Balderson might hold on to his very a lot of places are still calling the House Democrat victories. And I want to, but even Iowa 3 is up by 15 points, Texas 32 by 5.7, Texas 7 by 4, and New York 19 is up by Democrats by 12 points. So a lot of you projecting the House going to Democrats because you're not seeing as many toss-up districts until the western districts like toss-ups in California, and the Republicans need to win all of those to instill some confidence. And that's a look.
Maybe coming from the South, serving the state, and it's a very competitive race. It's hard to call.
Republicans like her and maybe even vote for her. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The state of tears, they're telling me, yes, he's going to win. So we'll see what happens.
And I just got a question about Massachusetts. She is the winner there. So Massachusetts is staying blue. I was able to interview independent candidate Massachusetts.
Of that number, take the House.
Been in politics there in West Virginia for a long time, a star football player, and tough to beat. You know, it's like I was thinking about the voters. You know, I was asking for prayers last night because a lot of voters say
with it just on the rally floor.
But Patrick Morrissey was very gracious. He's just a great guy, state of West Virginia.
He's keeping his Senate seat with 57% of the vote. Now this is with 76.
Philadelphia. Appreciate him running party there. President Trump winning the state of Pennsylvania in the 2016. Obviously, they're staying Democrats and voting local.
It's kind of in that, I don't know, I would call it a panhandle, but the panhandle of Texas, that area, the southwest corner. Will Hurd, the incumbent, down by 200 votes. Maybe. I think the president lost sight, or at least lost influence in these House elections, or at least didn't utilize them as much. He wanted to go to some of these districts that looks like it would still be in favor. He did go to Kentucky District 6. That should be the last time I say it, I promise. Andy Barr did win that seat. But other than that, Mike, if that holds true, because that has flipped a little bit on us tonight. But right now, that is candidate in that specific race.
Wow. Thank you, Max, and thank you for bringing updated results, because the race there, Democratic candidate Jon Tester in the lead at 57%. And President Trump is definitely not a fan of Jon Tester. So 17 points ahead of Matt Rose.
You know,
turned out. But still, Missoula is still a very liberal city. And even, you know, when the counting at Montana were covered, you know, I just love Montana. So Montana, an M or something, and it stands for, I forgot, different counties or something in Montana. But millennials in Missoula had actually made the.
They were grateful that President Trump came because their voices could finally be heard. So we're seeing the results of, you know, the voices of the people of Montana tonight. Really a beautiful state.
In favor of what else is to see the state stay red is honestly a surprise to me. And Mike DeWine doing a great job in Ohio right now.
Well, I know Mike DeWine personally. I know his family. They've been involved in politics. You know, they're just wonderful people. They devote their whole life to public service. So I'm not surprised. Go Mike, go Mike, go. And you know, we really appreciate all the candidates running for office. They put so much energy and work, and the whole family runs for office. So it's really rewarding to see these local Republicans winning in a state like, especially my home state of Ohio.
And we're going to stay on this gubernatorial track. Let's go to Georgia. 2/3 of the vote officially in. Brian.
Music is playing what's going on now, but I did a little bit. I got my family some gifts from the rallies, and I almost said, and also hoping to.
Our YouTube channel, so stay tuned there, and all the moderators, you know, keep you up to date on what's going on and give you all of this tonight.
Yeah, and so thank you again, Sheldon, Patreon on our website. Sorry that we're not able to shout those out as well, just because we have so much going on right now, and our focus is on these election results. But if you happen to donate on Patreon, PayPal, or
very early on looked to really very historically Democrat area, which is sort of surprising. But right now, Debbie Stabenow looks to have pulled away from John James. We'll keep you updated on that. But still a lot of time and still possible for John.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I know that's exciting for you, Tom.
And on that note, we're going to stay in the Senate and talk about Montana. Montana, we talked about it a little bit earlier with about 6% reporting. Tester up significantly. Tester still up by a similar margin right now. Matt Rosedale had a lot of support by President Trump, but still not quite enough. And also in Arizona with 7% reporting, Martha McSally slimmed one back here in the Senate. Right now, Mississippi, a state a lot of people would assume would stay red. It would be deep red, but right now it looks like that blue wave might have taken one of the Senate.
You don't want to mess with, so, you know, hard to see your eye right now. Yeah, definitely.
And also Josh Hawley's, but right now we're seeing what we talked about area.
You're familiar.
Election back in August, couldn't get his revenge. He kept things tight. 15,000 votes separated him in that. A very interesting.
That special election. Now here we are, really close, just a couple months away, and having to campaign again. So hats go off to Troy Balderson, a huge win for him and for the Ohio Republican Party.
Also, I talked to you guys a little bit earlier about Texas District 23 in that southwest corner, San Antonio, El Paso. Will Hurd is these Jones. But right now, Will Hurd has retaken the lead, and it's by with about half of the districts reporting might have to keep an eye on, because this looks to be a Democrat victory in the House so far. And speaking of House Representatives, Sean Duffy, you guys might have remembered him from some of the Minnesota rap and holding on to Democrats.
And I do have one House seat in Washington.
You know, Dean Heller speak at some of the rallies there, but no numbers yet. Polls are closing at. Also wanted to shout out real quick 2 new donations. Thank you so much, Robert Cameron, for that $10 donation, who says, thank you for your coverage. I've counted on your broadcast for years. Keep it up. Thank you, Robert. And $50 from Immelman.
2, Christopher Peters, Republican, looks to maybe win this seat in the southeastern part of the country, of the state, my bad. But right now, the rest of the state, Rod Blum, a longtime congressman from Eastern Iowa. These races, when you've got a margin this wide and this early, it's a pretty, could be a majority blue at the end of tonight, which would be a surprise for me. Iowa really kind of showed up and has unseated some Republicans. We'll keep you up to date on what happens there, as there's still a lot of votes to be counted in those districts, and also there is District 2 that seems to be holding on.
see if we have access to a feed of that right now, and we'll show it to you live if we can grab it for supporting Right Side Broadcasting Network. And looks like we have that feed
for
for
basic
you. So
food needs. I want to take a moment also to thank my wife, Heidi. Earl Dane shouldered balls backwards on a unicycle. And I want to thank Dad on the road. Girls, Mommy and I love you with all of our hearts. And I could not both of
before tonight. So again, congratulations to Senator Cruz. This looks like he's really fired up. And his family, you know, acknowledging his wife. The whole family runs for office. It's a lot of work and sacrifice for these candidates. And Senator Cruz.
1% against another Democratic candidate, Kevin D. Leon, for that Senate seat that she holds right now. And it's pretty close, but it looks like there's no Republican candidate there.
Wow, yeah, California, you know, they have some competitive House districts, but yeah, it's a very blue state, very Democrat state as we remember.
Brian Kemp was the one losing by several points. And when I say several, I mean 12. But right now, Brian Kemp afloat over that 50% mark over Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, with Eric Garcia. And looking over at the Senate race in Arizona, many of you were commenting, asking about that. Martha McSally right now in the lead over Kyrsten Sinema. McSally has 49.2% of the vote, and Kyrsten Sinema has 48.5%, so very, very close, with 11% reporting.
Well, it looks like the Republicans have done well in the United States Senate races. They've held their ground, and in a lot of the gubernatorial races, the Republicans have done well and they've held their ground. But in a lot of these House races, you know, the districts are carved out, you know, and some of them lean Democrat, some of them with issues and policy, and picking and choosing issues to run on, and decisions that you know you have to decisions that are made when you're an incumbent, especially a third term. But these are very it could determine winning or losing, as we see how close it is in all of these elections.
And Alyssa, you just got some breaking news from Twitter. You want to share the news that just came out of New York?
Yes. So not a huge surprise. But sure. Yeah. Cortez has won with 78.8%. He's in Congress. Wanted to share with you guys the first Muslim congresswoman. I'm probably going to pronounce her name wrong, but Democrats Rashida Tlaib in Michigan and Ilhan Omar in Minnesota both won their race House seats, becoming the first Muslim women ever elected to Congress.
And if you want to talk more,
Of course, it says 24 seats to win a majority. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. They're there to make that person's crescent party. So, you know, there's states that
Parties, midterm events held all around the nation. You know, a lot of people are gathering people gathering in a night, large room. Thank you, James, for that little surprise.
as a Republican, believe it or not, you guys, I don't know if you knew this, but minorities can be Republican. Now, early on, initial results have her in the lead. We'll see if that plays out that way. We'll keep you guys updated on that one, but that is a race that Democrats will likely not talk about a whole lot. So that'll be California District 39 in California.
Of course, the Casting Network, you know, if you want, you can donate in the super chat down below or on our website, RSB. Donate there and look. So going to give you guys a live look at that. I'm guessing that's where around the nation politics that's into it all, that knows, you know, what's good for our country, what direction.
you know, Republicans, you know, work so hard to keep the United States Senate, to keep the Democratic nominee there in the state of Georgia.
She's not taking the stage yet.
We have now taken 4 more seats and gained 2 more of them. It looks like Illinois District 14, Randy Holtgren, the incumbent Republican, has lost to Lauren Underwood.
Wow. Florida contentious race because Andrew Gilliam really has just a huge.
This race in the primaries was a shock to come out, ran as a kind of a dark horse candidate and really took over in the primaries, garnered a lot of support, kind of out of nowhere. Very similar story to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So Andrew Gillum, the two work very well together and very closely together. The Democrats now very tight in the House as we are getting underway here.
Gubernatorial races in California, Nevada, Oregon, resulting big over Andrew Gillum. And I see some of you commenting over on the YouTube chat, over on Instagram as well. Political taste, and look at the YouTube moderators. Common Sense, Gleno, and Raculp. We're really thankful to Hager and all those sponsors, members. Guys, we're so thankful for you. And you can finish.
Kansas has now officially gone to the Democrats for the gubernatorial race. It looks like Laura Kelly has been declared. Looks like Democratic Governor Laura Kelly over Republican Chris Kobach on Wisconsin.
One says that they are.
Shout out to Candy Smith, who's one of our moderators in the chat. She's been working really hard tonight as well. And Kansas, Kansas is growing in population. Part of Kansas City is actually in Kansas. Most of it is in Missouri, but the western part of Kansas City is in Kansas, and that's a growing area. Overland.
All of these rallies over the last few months, and it's so fun that we're able to just results. We're going to be staying up late with you tonight. So glad to bring you these results, and looks like some numbers now in the gubernatorial race in Oregon, with 66% reporting Democrat candidate and incumbent, just right, Knut. I've never heard that name before.
That's number 41, and Tina Smith will win the special election in Minnesota to give the Democrats 42-1 in favor. They're actually removed Rod Bloom from his service as the Congress came out strong, but it looks like Dave Lebsack will win that one as well, the incumbent in that area. And Iowa District 3, David Young, the incumbent Republican, looks to be down.
Done, so they were off
Here's a week for Kevin.
and then vote for someone, right after that, without actually digging into the issues and doing the research for the media, gaining momentum, as we're kind of moving on more to the
one tonight. It's really hard to maintain all of getting our ducks in a row here behind the scenes. I'm going to start us off by reporting the brand new numbers coming out of the great state of Arizona. Martha McSally has now pulled a little bit ahead, but Kirsten Sinema keeping things close. Martha McSally is now up by 8,000 votes, or 0.7%. So Arizona by Matt Rosent.
Yes, they've been asking about those Washington races. Any numbers in
Yeah,
there?
breaking. Washington is 6% with about 2/3 in so far. So still really close over there, but leaning blue seems to be the way that it'll go.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're continuing to bring you guys live coverage, these election results, as we are starting to get some of these numbers in from the West. And of course, looking at the SD, Leon with 47.5% of the vote. So California
Seats there, and Max talked about, one.
Fox is claiming a tie between. Oh, I just got that now.
It's actually going red with 5 in the gubernatorial race in Oregon.
Yes.
Blue 1% numbers now, and going to continue giving you guys live updates. There's a lot of really close races, and there are a lot of races that are
Was high for the absentee voting, so hopefully that people turn out today.
absentee. It's just the political energy in our country is just so insane right now. Everyone's energized, both agenda, and it's dirty and ridiculous and too much. But in the end,
Well, it's encouraging that normally go to the polls. We were there.
McSally is with a 17% point.
And Phil Scott has held his seat in Vermont, the incumbent Republican there. So there is some red governors that will stay up in New England, and also Georgia with 86% reporting. Brian Kemp with a 7.5%, and And so we're going to keep you guys updated on what happens there, as many Atlanta's counties and precincts have started reporting. And it looks like Brian Kemp could be very close to winning an interesting election that went down in Georgia.
Yeah, and also avoiding a runoff. So if he's getting over 50%, that's very encouraging to avoid that.
I agree. She did a great job at the debate, and she really did fight for Wisconsinites. And that, I think that's your us on the air. Really appreciate all of that continued support.
Officially, District 3 in Iowa, also District 2 has officially been called. The incumbent Dave Lebsack will hold on to his seat. So now we're only waiting on District 4. Steve Tight, just under 1,000 votes lead for J.D. Schulten, the challenger from the Democrats.
Very surprising, Max.
Very surprising that Steve King has held on to this election.
Yeah, Iowa, they're a very politically active state. They have caucuses. They're the first state to vote in the presidential primary, and there's a lot of pride. I think there's a lot of independent voters to the vote. And of course, the Democrats are dumping a lot of money into these races, and their money and resources into the state of Iowa.
Definitely, and it's something donors who said,
Canada campaign states, so look at any state, and maybe perhaps there's been some oversight in Iowa.
There's some oversight in a few of these states, in Georgia as well, and in New York. New York's District 22 with 95% reporting. Claudia Tenney, the Republican incumbent, is now losing by 0.4% of the vote, by about 900 votes. So New York 22 looked to lean Republican for a while. I don't know if you've got it on your sheet where you have it standing, but many percent of the pre-hand indicator of where this blue wave stands, and right now it's still a little bit quick. So
it's racist, wanted to make that
as positive as possible. He was a really fun candidate for everyone that voted him. There were videos of him just doing things like skateboarding across a stage and just putting on a show. So it looks like he's putting on a show even now as he loses.
Well, I mean, you talk about flashy. I don't know, but
well, and Alaska and Nevada still need to report some numbers, but right now the Democrat, obviously Montana still close, and some of the districts in Texas, Illinois, and in Iowa.
The Republican seat there in the U.S. House.
Yeah, there's some seats that still have to be called. They're that thin. Illinois' District 13, Republican Rodney Davis, but yet North Carolina's District 9, Mark Harris, is only up by just under 2,000 votes, so they still have yet to call that one as well. Multiple Michigan districts that are leaning.
You weren't going to however see that PayPal option. But before I finish that, Max.
I have breaking news from the state of Alabama. Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 have both passed in the state. So for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with these amendments, Amendment 1, 71 to 28% margin. So the 10 Commandments are now allowed to be placed on public property.
Well, thank you so much for that, Max. And if we didn't already announce it, Kay Ivey keeping her seat as the governor. These really cool to see the results after you voted in an election, no matter what. Right now is showing you Auburn alumni Kay Ivey win. I know that she has done a lot for Auburn, done so much for Alabama, and she's actually spoken to the college Republican Party before, right, Max?
Not yet.
I thought I saw a picture.
No, not quite. So some of our representatives met her. I'll have the opportunity to meet her at some point in the spring, and multiple times actually. And so I'm looking forward to that. War Eagle to
us. Have some notes tonight.
Not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In California, we still have some
tonight before we hear officially what will happen.
I never thought I'd say this, but we need it.
These districts are so small in California. It's in District 39 very early on, so we'll see exactly what happens. Oh, and I just got the new total is 169 to 1.
Aren't you guys live streaming on Facebook?
Kelly is the Republican nominee, and she is currently in the California state legislature, the first Korean American to serve there, a woman to serve in that state. California District 40 target
seat. John. incumbent Republican with 88% is now losing by about 2.5% to Lizzie Pano, hour or so. Also, New Jersey's district. A lot of these seats also in New York have yet to be called, but very likely will go blue as well. Let me try to find, I lost it just a second ago.
Yeah, looking at lots of results right now. You got it?
District 19, right 20. That would also, there's also District 2, Peter King, down by a race. It does look like the blue wave conquered about, and yet to even count their votes yet. It is an extremely close race for Republican Scott Walker, who is being challenged by lead over Fred Hubble in the Democrat over there. Kim Reynolds is the Republican incumbent, but she could look to capture this seat and hold on to it. So
President Trump made a personal endorsement of her at the rally there near Omaha and right on the border of Nebraska and Iowa.
But obviously, these House districts are so close. 435 of them up for grabs. We're getting kind of weeded down by these. If you guys see any changes in this Wisconsin district or in Iowa for governor, please do let us know, because these are so close that I want to keep an eye on. The Senate has been closed in Nevada for 2 hours. Yet not a single vote has been reported. So we are still waiting on Dean Heller, the current incumbent for the Republican Party, to hear if he holds on to that seat. And we'll let you guys know when we first hear about something, but right now, still nothing.
Yeah, we'll let you know as soon as we find out. You know, press our platform,
You know, we had a lot of rallies here, especially in the last month. We had 4 rallies in the House of Representatives.
Breaking, Scott Walker has now edged the lead over Tony Evers by 170-something votes. We're going to go into why haven't we called Georgia yet. Georgia, 92% have reported, and Brian Kemp has a 6.5-point lead over Stacey Abrams. The precincts need to be reported, some Cobb County, and also some precincts in
Brian Kemp. He needs to stay above 50%.
Time to call it. And also going back to Connecticut, that Bob Stefanowski has a good lead over Ned Lamont. Bob Stefanowski is the Republican. There's now 4 that Democrats have won in governor's mansions. Obviously very close to call. Minnesota's
great reporting tonight. We've been working really hard for you. Of course, Alyssa Ashe, you can tell she's been working really hard.
Paso Jones, the Surrey seat, as Democrats have now gained, still out over by Fox News with multiple precincts still needing to report. Georgia, still not official yet with 93% reported. Brian Kemp with a large lead, but as Tom pointed out, you need to have that.
Different races in the Senate, in the House, and that gubernatorial race as well. So, you know,
just need to do more to target House seats.
I want to interact with you guys and answer some of the questions that you may have. We already talked about Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan won tonight in Ohio. Thank you.
Virginia, which would also make it so that the women's right to an abortion in West Virginia. So that's breaking. The New York Times has yet to call it, but with 20 precincts left, 99% are reporting, 20 precincts are left, and it is a 20,000 vote difference between the two. So West Virginia seems to have restricted abortion within the state.
Well, thank you for looking that up, Max. We will appreciate it. So it's been a pretty exciting night. We've had some surprises. We've had, you know, some races that were very.
So fantastic way to really learn about the elections, you know, just through experience. Predictions for the House right now, not looking good for the Republican Party at all.
Looking at 206.
We'll see a lot of conservatives in Missouri, Indiana, Florida, Texas. These are business friends. Tennessee. People are moving to Tennessee. Business friends.
There is a lawsuit filed by 5 Georgia voters against Secretary of State Brian Kemp in Georgia. Ability to call for victory.
This is recent. This just happened, Brian Kemp. Whenever you're reaching out, guys, thank you so much. It is such an honor to enter. Right now, I want to make sure that I don't miss any questions or donations. Guys, thank you so much for everyone that has donated. Room watching.
Tony Evers, and now Scott Walker has it again with a 0.1% lead. About begun to report in that governor's race, and very
speech in June. And Stacey Abrams still not called yet, and as Max said, there's going to be some issues now for Brian Kemp. And so, we're going to continue to show you guys this live feed right now as we continue watching the different races all across the country.
Martha McSally, right, but we will see if that holds true. Or it could stay at 51 depending on the way things shake out. The Republican incumbent with 41.2% of the vote, so things are very close in Florida, in this country. Also, a lot of outlets have yet to officially we will have the lead in the Senate. However, we do not know by how to lead Republicans by 10. Steve King holding on to his drawn out, beating Omar Navarro by 18,000 votes with 8% reporting. Maxine Waters has been given the victory in California's 43rd district. Thought you guys would want to know that. Democrats have 182 seats to 100. District 22 has now gone towards the Democrats. Claudia Tenney, the Republicans, I believe they're going to go into a runoff, but that would be seat number 26. Also, Minnesota's District 1 flipping back blue, as it was Liam Check over District 9. Mark Harris still holding the lead. Still have.
If there's anything specific you want to know about these midterm elections, what will you debrief?
This campaign on that one to be officially called. No new votes coming in. He is stepping away. Some spotty camera work right now, so stand by.
When I first met Mark Butler when he was running for the State House in 2002, genuinely cares about our state. When I first met Mark, he impressed me then. To improve, he has spent countless hours on Georgia roads, visiting large municipalities and small telephone.
Down a little bit. Okay, speaking of conservative women, this is really interesting. Cassie Dillon actually retweeted this. So Marie Claire, very popular publication, posted a list of 50 influential women on why they're voting in the 2018 midterm elections, but they kind of left out conservative women, which is not okay.
Really appreciate all your hard work, and but I'm telling you, actions speak louder than words. It's just really inspiring to see someone like her win, and I know President Trump talks about her a lot. He really liked Martha Lee and Carl.
With everyone over on the YouTube chat, Twitter, and Instagram Live. Hope you guys are watching us. We have on YouTube. We've been live for quite a few hours now. We want to bring you guys results. We got about 3,000 watching right now, so that's really good, guys. Thank you so much. But please share this stream on your social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever you're using. Please share the stream just so we continue to reach so many people, so many amazing patriots. And want to thank everyone that has donated already and that will continue to. We've got them all right here. Okay, so two different right side, this blue one with a really pretty red logo, and of course the really for enjoy locally certain maybe that they secured the victory.
Time and energy and resources that go into these campaigns.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to make any announcements or declare victory too soon. We've seen that before. That's a big mistake. It's just not a good thing to do. We're glad that you're joining us and that you're staying with us. We really appreciate all of your love and support.
2000 Wisconsin at some point later tonight, which just means that I'm going to need some coffee.
Well, we've got lots of coffee here. Don't worry about that, Max. And we actually one time, I don't know if we still do, we had the Trump International coffee. That was really good. It was a dark night. This live feed awaiting the Brian Kemp speech. But Micah, you want to say a few words?
I'm just excited to be here.
Welcome, Micah.
So Micah, how much have you been paying attention to the results? Obviously, you've been off camera and doing your own thing today. So, how many of these results have you stayed up with and kind of followed before right now?
So throughout time, as I've been working on my country, as far as the election results, specifically here in Alabama, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there's multiple reasons going well, when the economy is going well, and everyone has a job and they're getting paid and they're making their bill, it was harder to have a better social platform when it comes to being on the road. It's easier to run off basic principles. It's always when it comes to
more focus on these House congressional districts that are lots especially for granted. You got to put money and resources into those areas that are growing, where people are moving for jobs and education. And even though they're Republicans, we're living in a smaller world. We're living in a world that people are moving.
Seat of Chris Collins, the incumbent. There was a time where Nate McMurray led for a little bit and by a few points, but now Chris Collins has stormed back with 76% of the precincts reporting. And also, lastly, Scott Walker has taken a larger lead with about 3,000 votes. He has are counted from Madison area recount.
Congratulations to the people of the national early on. So congratulations to him and a great win for the district.
So if you've already is going to be
when it comes to the typical Republican, candidate, if you want to say, it's all tonight the people of Alabama and really doing a lot of good work up in Montgomery.
Yeah.
How do you? What do you think these two
states? We have to fight back harder because if they can do it, then they can do it here. Personally, if it just comes to statistics and the amount of births per family, and when it comes to cultural things, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids under that same culture, then if on cap to even have money that they have going to these kind of places. And so their money is creating that to actually occur. And that is something to be concerned about, whether you agree or disagree with abortion.
More stories out there and more, the rallies are going to feed off of that, and they're going to have to respond to the House and Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats controlling the House.
Speaking of the House and controlling the House, Iowa made a very interesting decision tonight with going up against Nancy Pelosi. They have now officially elected Steve King to Iowa District 4. Obviously, Steve King had to rather deal with somebody of those beliefs and thoughts that have to Democratic or really.
Because we're getting things situated, bringing you guys more results. Hopefully, we can get. It's been an amazing opportunity that we were actually able to go to 2 rallies. I've lived in like 5 different states, so I'm just pronouncing it the best I can. And Elko had one Uber driver, named Susan. She was a blessing to us. We didn't have a rental car. So listen, he was talking about his opponent, Jackie Rosen, right? Yeah, and he was talking about how she was not okay rallying and debating with him. He said, well, I'm here in Elko, and maybe Jackie is. And about him is that he's not just focused on those big cities, but the people that President Trump targets as well. Visit them before they really honed in on that area and wanted to speak to them. And I thought that was really fantastic and respectable. And so really
that he can an open seat, so we can pick up a seat there in the House. We need every seat in the House, obviously, and in the Senate. So it's been very close thus far this season.
Also, really quick, new numbers coming through Wisconsin. Now 93%. Wow, I just messed up that math. 786 vote lead for Scott Walker. 93% reporting. Still, many few precincts need to report, but Wisconsin still extremely tight. And that one is going to be a race that we need to watch. Also, a race that tightened diminished to a. Without Red, obviously President Trump, not a big fan of John Tester, worked very hard to flip this seat to the wire. Did hike camp by about 30,000 votes and 9%. So Kevin's January.
Or speech that we really you Abrams to on the right. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. That's why we are continually monitoring this feed. We want to show it to you guys. We want to show you his speech as to introduced him and, well, not introduced him, but they've just kind of spoken a little bit. Obviously not introduced him. He's not there yet, but we're going to continue showing you guys that feed as we wait and shout. He says things are going to help us. Right now, the House is really going blue. Tom.
Yeah, well, Alyssa, the United States